I really like how moody and thick the atmosphere here is compared to what we've seen so far. Everything else has been really pleasant, but this is really dark. And the music isn't my favorite, but it gives you a sense that there's trouble coming, like this, which is the worst trap in the game. You automatically lock on to any enemies you're near, and the enemies are right where these pendulums are swinging. So if you want to hit the enemies to remove the lock-on, you have to get hit by the pendulums. It really doesn't help that you can also be hit while you're down. Now, it is possible to just jump over them if you time your jumps very carefully and wait until the rats run past you. But if you screw up and they get within your lock-on radius, then you have to do this. So it's not that the trap can't be completed well, if you know what you're doing, it's just that it's really evil. This is the only time we actually see a trap like that, where they use your lock-on mechanic against you. None of the other traps in the game work that way, which is either good or bad, depending on how you view it. It's bad, because that's an interesting way to use the lock-on mechanic, but it's good if you hate having your lock-on mechanic manipulated like that. I personally like when games try to screw with me like that, but this game is really easy, so it just kind of sticks out. It's best if you only use your 3-hit kick combo on these spiders, because there's very little chance your fists will actually hit them. They usually just fly right over them. But the kick combo gives you plenty of room to block if you miss. Fun fact, I have never once fallen off these platforms. Even though the platforms move, you don't move with them, so their rotation is kind of useless. And we can just entirely ignore this Grim Reaper enemy. He won't chase us or anything like that. Let's see what the first mini-boss is. And yes, this time it is only the first mini-boss, because there is more than one. And the answer is it's kind of sweet. It's this flying demon monster, and if the AI feels like it, the demon will fly all around the room and shoot projectiles, and the battle goes all over the place and you have to chase it down. But usually it just stands in one spot. So you block its fireball, and then punch it, and that's all you have to do. Which is a shame, because when the fight goes the other way, it's really awesome. And we don't even get to see half of his attacks like this, but I'm not gonna lie and tell you the game is, isn't what it is. But yeah, that was a really cool design for a mini-boss that we killed in like 4 seconds. And a platform came out so we can jump up these, I guess these are steps? They look like half of a gear. But where's the other half? So this stage gives the illusion of being maze-like, but it's actually one of the most linear stages in the game by far. Really, it's the platforming stage, if anything. There are a lot of platforms in this area that lead to nothing in particular, so we're just gonna run right past them. This new enemy looks cool, but we can just combo it infinitely without ever having to let it attack, simply by using our 5-hit combo repeatedly on it. It just doesn't attack fast enough. And this time we didn't have to search for the key or anything, it was just right before the mini-boss door. So let's see what this mini-boss is. This one's a panther that makes really weird noises. So we have two options. We can either block its full combo, and then strike it back with our own combo, or we can just spam our fireball at it. I wonder which option we're gonna choose. It doesn't have any projectile attacks of its own, in case you can't tell. Nearly every mini-boss in the game can be cheesed out by using Blood's fireball, because it's just that ridiculous. And right after the mini-boss is a platforming section that was probably a real pain to some people. But honestly, I think it's really easy. They give you plenty of time to jump from place to place. But before that, we see a switch. This is the first switch that we have to jump on to activate. There are a couple of others later in the game, but they don't have a giant footprint on them. Pressing the switch activates this staircase and makes a platform move across the room, so that way we can actually, you know, traverse it. The timing for the jump can be a little tricky, but it should only take a couple tries. And here's that big platforming section I was talking about. And it's perfectly doable if you remember that you can maneuver yourself in the air. The platforms move in very predictable patterns, and they stop slowly. So there's really nothing to worry about, and there's very few places where you have to make diagonal jumps, like right here. But the platforms move so slow that it shouldn't be a problem. And I think this is the most platforming we have to do in the game, if memory serves me properly. This is the most platforming we'll ever have to do. Past this, it's just minor jumps here and there. Unfortunately, this platforming section is rather slow, even though it is easy, so if you fall down, you have quite a bit of retrying to do. Lots of waiting. Lots of waiting. We're gonna edit ourselves to the end of the section. I really am a bit curious as to why they chose to name this place Mount Clome. Because Clome is a real word, sure, but I'm not sure how it would fit here. This is a really neat room where the platform swings quickly from one position to another, so you have to really fast run to the center, so you have a solid place to stand, or else the platform moves right out from under you. So you run a little bit and then jump for it. As I'm hopefully about to demonstrate successfully. No, I didn't wait long enough. I would have a minor complaint that this is the only level with any real platforming in it, but maybe this is all they could think to do with the platforming in the game. Maybe they didn't feel that their platforming mechanics were robust enough to support much more than this. And maybe that's a wise decision. I rather like it when games push all their mechanics to the limit and see absolutely all the uses possible with them. But maybe in this case that would have been a cause for frustration. I have no way of knowing. Though all of the characters do have the same jump height and jump arc, it's not like they all jump differently or anything, so there's nothing to worry about with that. These platforms lead upward to a save point, but what do you say we just fall down and go forward instead? There's so many mice and bats in this room, it's ridiculous. But we're not going to bother grinding them because we're not going to do any more grinding. I made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Another sickle mouse, which if you remember correctly, we can just completely annihilate with our full combo without ever having to block. Kinda sucks for him. In this upcoming room, we just have to find the thing that looks out of place in order to proceed. Yeah, that looks a bit weird over there. And for no reason, when we step next to it, a platform appears. We're very near the end of the stage now, but we have to see an old friend before we can fight the boss. Or rather, a new friend. Oh dear. I'm not sure what made me dodge to the side like that. Let's try that again. Not a whole lot of intimidating enemies in this stage. I mean, the demon was kind of cool graphically. But he was a piece of cake to overcome. Maybe the boss will change that. No, he's as easy as all the other bosses. In the next hallway is the friend I was talking about. Right over here. Yep, it's this trap again, but this time I managed to make it through successfully. Mostly. I deeply wish I had something to say about this guy, but really we're just gonna spam the fireball at him over and over. There is another tactic we're going to use when we get later into the game, but for now this works just fine.
しかし、良かったのかもしれん。ここで負けて。
ああ、俺もそう思うよ。このまま帰った方がいい。